Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending from where you're watching us from. This is Oscar, your host, and tonight it's going to be another round of K Championship Knockout 13 to be more precise. And start procedure has been given, so we're going to switch straight towards the race scene. As usual, it's going to be either the F50 or the Flying 75. Tonight it's going to be just the F50, 4 races with all the players in, and then one medal race counting double the points with the top 4 only. Scores are kept during the medal race and the 4 races prior to that. 30 seconds to go before the players can cross the start line. And well, let's see who the winner of tonight will be, joining the other 12 finalists in the grand final for the K Championship in mid-December. Grand final is going to be taking place. With 3 seconds to go, 1 no false starts at all. And looks like the Brazilian 000 is off with a good start, taking is in front of Vari, the Polish sailor, but is inside of Mumi, so he should have the priority over here, forcing Mumi to take wide, and has a 50-meter lead on the rest of the fleet. He did perform very well in the last 3 knockouts, I believe he was in, or 2, always reaching the medal race, but not being able to get that top spot. Hopefully tonight will be the night for him, as he's being followed closely by Lazar Kozik Schleg, a returning name that we see in the knockouts as well, that we haven't seen in a while in knockouts. While we see the one of the veterans from the Polish community, Vari, taking the left side of the fleet. As he will be crossing paths with the others, he will have to give way if there is going to be contact, as he is on port side. The others are on starboard, so they will have the priority. He does just that to let Muimui, the Japanese, pass over there. We're going to be approaching the first upwind gate of the course. Brazilian still in a strong position, and Muimui coming in on the left over here. But will have to duck down and avoid all the boats, as he does just that. Losing momentum and dropping down to 5th. He was first right before that maneuver. Brazilian starting the first downwind. It'll be another gate at the bottom over there, then one last upwind, and then coming back down to half a downwind into a reaching finish. Still followed closely by the, I believe that's the Serb, Lazar Kozik, and the American Schleg right next to them. With a 130-meter lead, let's focus on Lazar and Schleg over here. These 2 boats are closer to each other. One might be able to overtake the second as they mirror each other's move. As of now, Schleg almost looks like almost decided to go on the left, but decided to stay on port tack, while Lazar decided to follow the Brazilian sailor over there. Muimui coming back in 4th. We see Von Pigeon, ESP Pablo, and Van Zeydich, the German sailor. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. Watch out for any penalties here between 000 and Lazar. Lazar is trying to overtake him. They're going to end up in these quieter zone over here. You see the water being lighter in color than the rest. At the top over there, we see Lazar taking a 13 over here. When these zones are lighter, compared to like the darker patches that you can see elsewhere on the course. That means that there's just less wind in this area. Schleg manages to take second place from Lazar. That penalty did helping out. We see ESP Pablo on the left over there in 6th, and Mumui catching up in 4th. Zero. Starting the last downwind, looks like he'll be taking the win in this first race. A flawless race for him in race number 1. Schleg in 2nd over here. Looks like his 2nd place is going to be fairly safe. And looks like we have a new 3rd over here with Von Pigeon that we've seen multiple times in the K Championship. And Lazar dropping down to 4th after that penalty. Trying to catch up on Von Pigeon, but on this straight reaching is going to be hard to overtake. Van Zeichtig, the German, in 5th. Mumui in 6th. And looks like it's going to be Vari in 7 with AKZ in 8. What's happening over there is going to be ESP Pablo crossing the line to finish this first race. There we have the results. Start procedure has been given. 1 minute to go. So the start procedure actually takes 1 minute and 20 seconds for the boats basically to find the best spot and prepare. In sailing, you want to cross the start line already with some speed and some momentum. And these 1 minute and 20 seconds basically allow the players and the sailors to position themselves as they prefer. Trying to find the spot, trying to read the wind, and do the best start. Which is why you'll see them always in the FFD especially try to start far from the start line, because they want to reach that start line with all the speed they can get. Obviously trying to avoid the false start, because that's going to be penalizing them for 10 seconds, slowing them down, allowing everyone to pass in front at the start at least. 5 seconds to go. And looks like we have no false starts again. With Schleg in a good spot, but Mumui is going to be taking the lead, and then it's going to be tight between Schleg and Lazar. Schleg has the inside, so Lazar decides to go wide. Mumui and Lazar going on the right. Schleg is followed by Von Pigeon on the left. Looks like the bulk of the fleet is going to be taking the right side over there. We see Van Zeidig in a penalty, I believe. That was a 12, not a 31. I thought it was a 31. As Mumui crosses the gate first, Schleg still next to Lazar on the inside, so Lazar has to stay wide. Von Pigeon still in 4th following Schleg. Lazar decides to go on the right, followed himself by the Polish Vari. Vari, who is the Polish e-sailing champion of 2024. And looks like Mumui is right where he wants to be. 140-meter lead on the rest of the fleet. He has no one currently close to him. But as I'm saying that, we see these 3 boats over here, ESP Pablo, Schleg, and Von Pigeon catching up. We're gaining some meters on him. But they're not going to cross path, and Mumi's likely going to be on port side when they cross path again. Meaning that these sailors will have to give way to Mumui. As Mumui takes the right gate, ESP Pablo takes the left. And we might have a new leader at the end of this leg, as these two Steylers are very close to each other, going at looks like ESP Pablo is going slightly faster than Mumui, going 1.3 knots faster. He was on starboard, so Mumui had to let him pass, and ESP Pablo takes the lead in this race number 2. They have a huge gap with the rest of the fleet. Von Pigeon in third is at 440 meters behind them. As we see these two sailors starting the last upwind of the race, is going to be another gate at the top, then half a downwind and reaching finish. If we concentrate on third place over here, Von Pigeon looks like he has a comfortable lead on the Brazilian and a fourth behind him. Both deciding to go on the opposite gates, and looks like we had almost a collision here between Mumui and Pablo. Mumui just above Pablo over here on the screen, and decides to tack away. So as a reminder, Pablo arrived 10th in race number 1 and Mumui arrived 6th in race number 1, so both of these players are going to be wanting a strong performance in the following races, because you need to average in the top 4 if you want to be in the top 4. As they cross pass again, and still staying neck and neck with a slight advantage to Mumui according to the ranking on the left. What's happening with Von Pigeon and the Brazilian? We see Schlegg on the top right in 5th, with 0-0 in 4th, right next to Von Pigeon. As we see Mumui forcing Pablo to tack in late to try to get more advantage, and Pablo is going to try to sneak in. He had the inside, so Mumui had to give way to him, puts the penalty on Mumui, who takes the 18. That's maybe going to allow Pablo, well, that is going to allow Pablo to take the lead for now, until they can cross the mark again, around the mark, and looks like Pablo is going to have a comfortable enough lead on Mumui to take first place. That was a nice battle between these two sailors, with Von Pigeon taking third. Twice in a row, third for Von Pigeon. The Brazilian in 4th. Crow 280 in 5th. And Crow 280, as I say that, takes a penalty from Schlegg, who will actually be taking 5th place. And Crow 280 is going to drop down to 7 even, with the German taking 6. Behind, Vari takes 8. Breast Power is going to take 10 or 11. Ooh, that was very close between these two. We'll get the confirmation over here. Breast Power takes 10, and Lazar takes 11. As the start procedure has been given. Yeme Kiara, hello, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. 50 seconds to go. As I explained before, the boats are going to try to measure the wind, try to read the shifts, and position themselves the best they can for that start. Trying even maybe to time the time it takes them to reach the start line, depending from where they're going. And let's try to follow our leader overall. 0-0-0-0. as they're going to start picking up some speed. 10 seconds to go. Watch out for the false starts as always. No false starts for everybody, so a clean start. Lazar is in a good position, but very close to the Brazilian. Watch out for no penalties coming in from behind. And looks like it's going to be between Lazar and Mwimwi for the mark. Mwimwi takes the inside, Lazar goes wide. Stays on the right. Schleich takes the left. Schleich currently third overall with 7 points. And Lazar is dropping down to 5th at this mark round. It was very hectic. A lot of the boats very close to each other. Wanted to avoid the penalties. Here we see Mwimwi next to Von Pigeon. Very close to each other. Mwimwi taking the penalty 12 by hitting Von Pigeon's boat in the rear. And being overtaken by AKZ 90 Kamrad. Von Pigeon in the lead. Unfortunately, he takes the penalty from Brest Power. Brest Power was on starboard, so he has the right of way on boats who are sailing on port tack. So if you're sailing on port tack and crossing pathways of boats sailing on the starboard tack, you're going to have to give them way. And Von Pigeons repeats that, tries to avoid Schleich over here. Schleich's going to cross paths with Lazar. Lazar actually crosses in front. Same goes for Brest Power, still in the wind. You see the darker patch on the water. Right underneath him is going to be Lazar. Over here, Brest Power decides to attack now. Hopefully for them, they'll be able to do this in a single attack and the shift won't be too big. But it looks like Brest Power is going to be able to round the mark without having to double tack. Not the case for Lazar, who will have to attack and go on the right. Barry, therefore, takes second place, chasing Brest Power. 45 knots over for both boats, 46 knots now. F50 is one of the fastest sailing boats in the world. Used in the Sail GP competition. Lazar in third, with most of the fleet afterwards. Mwimwi is going to be in fourth. Still strong performances from Mwimwi. He is fourth overall, 6th in race 1, 2nd in race 2, currently 4th. And he unfortunately touches the mark, pool 31. That's going to slow him down for 10 seconds, not what he wanted to. And we see Vari, Lazar, AKZ, Schleich on the left over here. Brest Power took the other mark, the right one, and is slightly higher. And he's going to probably decide to attack as soon as he reaches the white boundary. Currently in an area with less wind. Very over here going at 28 knots. That was almost 3 knots faster than Brest Power, as he's currently picking up some speed while Very is dropping. It looks like Brest Power is going to maintain his lead. What's happening for third? Lazar behind Vari. Going to be crossing paths with ESP Pablo, but no worries for him. He's on starboard, so he has the advantage. Mwimwi is going to have to sail underneath or attack. Same goes for the German Banzaitig. As Brest Power rounds the mark for the final half downwind, taking the wind in race number 3. Vari is going to take second. Lazar is hopefully going to be able to keep his third place, followed by Mwimwi in fourth. ESP Pablo in fifth, no penalties this time. 6 for Schleich, followed closely by Von Pigeon in 7. The German in 8, Svensakti. With the Brazilian dropping down to 9. That's going to hurt his score. And I agree with you, Chris, with AKZ in 10. And looks like Crow did not finish the race. Final standings for this race. And at the end of this race, we'll take just a smaller break, or sorry, a slightly longer break to give out the rules, double check the scores, and start that medal race with the top 4 players as the start procedure has been given. So let's follow our overall leader, Mwimwi. The boat that we're seeing on the screen right now with they all have the K Challenge livery, being a K Championship. K Challenge partnered with the CLGP French team. "20 seconds to go." Looks like we unfortunately had a false start from Schleich. Mwimwi in a good spot in 3rd over here, right next to the other boats. And give me 1 second. As we're missing the most important parts of the race. I can tell you, Mwimwi kept 1st place. Von Pigeon is in 2nd. And when Mwimwi has a slight lead, 100 meters or so. And last chance for the players. To reach the top 4, so we're currently watching Von Pigeon right next to ESP Pablo. Von Pigeon is 3rd overall, tied with Schleich at 13 points. ESP Pablo is 5th overall with 16 points. So he needs to be either 3 points ahead of 000, or 3 places ahead of 000, or sorry, 2 places ahead of 000, or 3 places ahead of Von Pigeon or Schleich. And that's without considering the tie-breaking system. Tie-breaking system basically works if 2 players are tied in their series score. For example, Schleich and Von Pigeon both have 13 points. As we see a penalty here given to Von Pigeon by ESP Pablo, that's going to allow... Sorry, that wasn't ESP Pablo giving the penalty. Who is that next to him? Breast Power. And that allows ESP Pablo to take the lead, while Mwimwi is flying away, going at almost 46 knots up there, with a 270 meter lead. But yeah, so if 2 players have a tie in their series, you just align all the races that they've done from best to worst, and at the first tie difference, or the first point difference, give the advantage to the one with the better score. So in the case of Schlegg and Von Pigeon, maybe harder for you to read without the scoreboard underneath, but both have 13 points, but Schlegg's best performance was second place, Von Pigeon's best performance was third place, so the tiebreak goes in favor of the American. So we saw ESP Pablo here deciding to go on the right in the lower breeze. We decided to stay on the left where you see the darker water. And so far, Mui has kept his first place. Von Pigeon managed to get his second place back, while ESP Pablo is dropping down to 7th or 8th. Von Pigeon decided to tack now. Mui just did the same thing just slightly afterwards. So we see Breast Power in 3rd over here. Breast Power is 9th overall with 20 points, so he's 6 points behind 000. So he is going to want a very good race as Mui keeps his lead at the end of this upwind. It's going to be the last half downwind and then the reaching finish. Looks like it's going to be safe for Mui and Von Pigeon. Though second place for Von Pigeon might not be confirmed here with Breast Power right next to him. 000 in 4th. Might be able, if there's a penalty between Breast Power and Von Pigeon, take one of the spots, but no, Von Pigeon's going to keep his second place. Breast Power is going to take 3rd. And 000 is going to take 4th. ESP Pablo in 5th. The German Van Zeichtig in 6th. 7 for Vari. Lazar Kozak in penalty is going to take 8. Schlegg is going to take 9. AKZ in 10. Confirmation of the score for this race with just 5 seconds to go. And start procedure can initiate. "25 seconds to go." Yes, the fight is already on. We see Von Pigeon and Mui turning around each other. 10 seconds to go. Boats are going to start to pick up some speed. We are currently on Von Pigeon's boat. Who is going to take a 31. That's going to allow Mui to take first place. Brazilian coming in on second. Fortunately for the Brazilian, I think he was targeting the wrong sailor because his sailor for which he needs to be more careful of is going to be Mui. He needs Mui in last place if he wants to have a chance at winning. And Mui is going to be fighting for against Von Pigeon for sure, because that's the only person. Well, that's the most likely to happen. Although the Brazilian over here is going to take quite a lead, 50 meters right now over ESP Pablo. ESP Pablo is kind of gonna have to be the, or is going to be the Joker, kind of in this leg, because he is, in terms of overall points, too far behind to win. So he can. So yeah, too far behind. So he has no real. He's not fighting for a win. Basically, he's just fighting to have the best race possible. As we see the Brazilian over here crossing paths close to another sailor, dropping down to second. Well, still in first actually now. As ESP Pablo takes the lead. Starting this last upwind, Von Pigeon still close in third. We drop down to fourth. So this is looking good for the Brazilian. And he's putting a 160 meter lead on Von Pigeon. So that gap is narrowing, but the Brazilian is going to be able to stay in front. As he tacks over, that's going to be the last downwind of the race. Pablo is still close. Von Pigeon is tacking now. Pablo is going to try to go on higher up over here, try to go straight towards the right. Tacks on the ley line, is not going to be able to catch up on the Brazilian unless the Brazilian does a mistake in his maneuvers, which he does not. So Brazilian is going to cross the finish line in first. ESP Pablo is going to cross it in second. Von Pigeon in third. Meaning that I believe this is a win for the Brazilian after his third attempt in the K Championship. Meanwhile, Muimui is going to be crossing the finish line in fourth. Confirmation of the results for this race on your screen, and we'll head over to the overall results. 0000 is our winner in K Championship, knockout 13 with 20 points. Then just 1 point behind is going to be the British Von Pigeon, tied with Muimui with 21 points. Again, the tiebreaker goes in favor of Von Pigeon for having raced a better medal race than his Japanese counterpart. ESP Pablo in fourth with 25 points, arriving second in that medal race. Congratulations to 0000. Congratulations as well to all the other sailors tonight. It was a very tight racing. and in the end, it was the Brazilian who took the lead and qualifies for the K Championship Grand Final happening in mid-December. Well, thank you all for watching. This has been Oscar, your host. Hope you've enjoyed. Next K Championship is going to be Knockout 14, which is happening in just, I believe, 2 days or 3 days from now. We'll get the confirmation of the dates. It's going to be in F50, and it's going to be in 3 days and 3 hours from now, before we head over back to alternating between the Flying 75 and the F50. So again, huge congratulations to the Brazilian Sailor 0000 for qualifying for the K Championship Grand Final. Round of applause as well for all the other sailors. It was tight racing. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.